Cafeteria discussion. After the new classes the students took from the new substitute teachers, it's lunchtime. While Spike is doing some of the cooking, Peanut Butter and Cloudy Quotes decide to help during their spare time in classes. While Cloudy makes the food just like the way for her family, Peel made apple pies for dessert to show her respect to the school of friendship. Isn't this amazing? Peanut Butter asks as she placed the pieces of apple pie on the table by the students. I'm giving more ponies the foods and desserts I made for the Apple family. You have no idea what my friends are going to feel about this. I guess you're right. You only met your longtime friends and hang out with Apple Bloom in some occasions, Spike replied as he placed flour sandwiches on the table. Do you think you should blame your friends during your time here? Not really. I need to put my focus on my class. I told Twilight I might take my students to a field trip and I want it to be memorable. Suit yourself. What about you, Cloudy? Spike asks, turning his attention to Pinky's mother. However, she isn't in the mood to discuss her plans as she makes the food. What's the matter, Cloudy? Peel wondered. Cloudy still refuses to speak, not even one word. Both Peel and Spike start to feel concerned in Pinky's mother's situation. Her last 3 classes before lunchtime was the weakest when it comes to showing friendship to her students. Maybe you should talk to her during your lunch break, Spike whispered. Peanut Butter agrees with him since Applejack told her she tried to help Cloudy's family during heartwarming. If a dollar can help Pinky's family, she can help Cloudy. All the students eat the food for this period. The teachers and the principal are eating in their own separate room, which is hallways from the cafeteria. Twilight Velvet made purple cupcakes to celebrate the first day to help out their daughters. So you mean to tell me the students in your class called you a role model of supportment? Velvet asked to Rainbow's mother. Yes, even though I have 0 plans when it comes to field trips, I can be their sub so they will never give up. Supportment for the win! Wendy flung herself off her chair as she cheered in her accomplishment. Don't you think Rainbow is going to be embarrassed when she finds out about this? Mrs. Shy chimed in as she put her flour sandwich down. Mrs. Shy, can you please tone down the negativity already? Cookie retorted. I'm sure she will forgive her for taking over. Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're ruining the school. We're supposed to fill in for our daughter's students, Stella added. And not only that, we're doing everything we can to impress the students since they met us before, Peanut Butter added. Mrs. Shy decided to continue her lunch as she tries to keep an open mind for her class at the end of the schedule. Since she doesn't usually take care of animals like her daughter, she has to find a way to teach her students about friendship. Anyway, Cloudy, do you have anything in store in your classroom? Velvet asks. Cloudy didn't even make a response due to her depression in her classes. I don't think she wants to talk right now. Believe me, Pinky's family isn't like what Pinkie Pie is. Even if that's also something I still don't understand, Peel reminded. This made Cloudy glare at her in frustration. I think I'm going to eat in my classroom. I really need some time alone. Cloudy took her food and made her way to her daughter's classroom. Apple Bloom, while the toddler who was about to enter the teacher's room, backed off from Cloudy's frustration. Pinky's mom, do you need any help? She asked. Cloudy stopped in place. She knew any pony is willing to help her in any situation in this school when it comes to friendship. I do, but I still need time alone just for today. Pinky shouldn't have given me ideas for a class. This is going to be very difficult for me to teach my students. Without even looking at Apple Bloom, she continued to walk off to her classroom with her lunch. Apple Bloom wanted to help ponies even if she isn't related to Pinky's family. It also requires a lot of time to think about inspired friendship lessons without Pinkie Pie. She enters the room as she's thrilled to hang out with her mother after that amazing day she had with her in the past. Mom, she cheered. Apple Bloom. Peanut Butter gets off her seat and she and the longer daughter go for a hug. I always knew you would be staying around during Twilight's vacation. I'm still new to this. I want me and my friends to be the best toddlers in this school. That's my little country girl. Peel hugs her a little tighter, thrilled to see her daughter once more. All the other teachers adore Peel's moment with Apple Bloom when Twilight Velvet walks up behind Peel. Hey Peanut, if you have an idea that involves field trips, you should bring Apple Bloom with. That's a good idea. Apple Bloom breaking the hug from Peel. How about Appaloosa? We can have a rodeo there. I'll think about it, but at the same time, I should talk to my friends in Appaloosa for any case of rodeos for our students, Peel reminded. Okay, I'll go talk to my friends about the possibility. Apple Bloom left the room, hopping in joy while she goes back to her classroom. Peanut went back to her seat as she gets back to her lunch while Stella discusses her plans in the school. As for me, if anyone gets themselves into a difficult stretch on friendship, I'm always here to make a plan. Flair took out her list of ideals when it comes to the students of their classes. I hope any of you find one of your students really, let's just say, depressed. She gave a smoke with her eyebrow raising. Well, Cookie spoke. There's one point that really needs some help today, and that's Star Tracker. You're right, I saw him with a bag around his head during lunchtime when he was getting his lunch, Peanut Butter mentioned. Maybe it's because I allow him to discuss about his appointment, Wendy added. His appointment was about Twilight Sparkle and how he became a desperate fan of her. And then all the students mocked him for getting 4 kisses from her, and I was being nice to never mocked him. Well, it's good because we messed with him earlier and we regret it when we started our first class, Velvet added. All the teachers looked at each other, involving their thoughts about Twilight's biggest fan. Do you think he needs help? Stella asked. I guess we should get him after school is over so we can have a conversation with him. Maybe during our first field trip we can show him something about relationships, Velvet said. Good idea. He's in my final class so I can remind him on going to Stella's office, Mrs. Shy added. They ended their conversation about their plans for classes and field trips as they continued to finish their lunch. As for Mrs. Shy, she has a different talent unlike her daughter. Her class with her students will be a hobby she hopes will happen again in the future. Mrs. Shy's personal flowers. All the students enter Mrs. Shy's classroom. Mrs. Shy has pots with a variety of flowers on her desks and tables. Despite her students expecting lessons involving animals for Fluttershy, her mother has something different for this week. Lana can't believe there's flowers instead of animals, Lana replied as she enters the classroom. So do I, Celsius added. Maybe Fluttershy's mother is using flowers for Fluttershy's meadow, Sandbar commented. If that was the case, then we would see pots of flowers there, which we don't, Smalldo said. Star Tracker, who's still wearing a bag around his head, sits by Sandbar as all the students took their seats. For a couple of minutes, Fluttershy's mother enters her classroom and notices Star Tracker wearing his bag. Star Tracker, can you please take your bag off? You've been wearing it all day, she asked nicely. Is it really a big deal? This is my last class of the day, he replied. Tracker, you're going to be in Flair's office after this class. It's an intervention. As much as Star Tracker refuses to expose himself, he never understood why he's going to an intervention, but he still has to follow Mrs. Shy's instructions. He slowly took off his bag, and luckily no one is messing with him during class. Mrs. Shy takes the bag from Tracker and places it on her desk as she begins her class. I know all of you expect me to show you something about animals like my daughter has been doing, however I plant flowers instead. Mrs. Shy then takes one of her flower plots and shows them to her students. It's a daffodil completely fresh. Now I understand planting flowers take a while, so for this one and only assignment for this week, you can pick which plant you want to make. I made all the instructions if you need some help. Most of the students fell off with the idea of making plants, while others like the idea so they can give their parents in addition to their garden. Smalldo raised her hand up since she's one of the students fell off with the new assignment. Do you think we should do something else like what Fluttershy does? Because from where I live, dragons don't plant flowers. Oh, well, Mrs. Shy didn't think that the dragon tribe was different from ponies, but it wasn't until Silverstream raised her hand. Wait a second, she shouted. If Smalldo finishes her project, can I please take it home with me? Never mind. I guess even dragons like myself need to learn something from other tribes, even if we can't keep something we never done before. Smolder rolled her eyes. So much for that, Sandbar commented. Alright then, everyone line up to get your instructions. Mrs. Shy places the pile of sheets on her decks while her students make a line. They take their time to find which plant project they want to do, and surprisingly, every single creature in the class found the plant they want to feed and study. They pick tulips, irises, and common daisies. Mrs. Shy's hopes never disappoint her now that her assignment is becoming more of a future opportunity for her to give inspiration for future students if she ever gets the chance to take over her daughter's class. For the next 10 minutes, all the students got their instructions with dirt in bags while they have empty pots and scent seeds representing different flowers. Sunflowers, azaleas, gimbelas, among other plants, will become living but safe things by the time the real teachers return from their vacation. Mrs. Shy is impressed that everyone is getting set up for the first step of making plants. I want to thank every pony and creature for picking my instructions and what plant you want to do. It really means something since I never saw anything like this ever happened to me, she said with a sweet tone. You bet, we always do the same for your daughter, Silversim commented. Mrs. Shy was more kind than Fluttershy when it comes to her encounters with other ponies. She spent most of her life taking care of Zeppelplease, even if she hopes she wasn't right now, doing her full-time job just like her husband, and also stays in Cloudsdale, but at the same time she has a personal secret involving her interest in flowers. You don't understand, she replied after what Silverstream said. In my whole life, I never did something like this. I didn't even do a volunteer donation. Then Sandball raised his hoof. There's something I mean to tell you. If your daughter's hobby is about taking care of animals, what makes plants important to you? That's a really nice question, Celsius added. Mrs. Shy found Sandball's question more unexpected than she thought. Even her friends at her daytime job never told her about her hobby. She went to her bag of supplies for her 1-week job of this occasion and takes out her photo of her in front of so many kinds of flowers during her trip in a flower sanctuary. When I have the time for me and my husband to go out in Equestria, we go to eat at restaurants and other activities. One of my activities is going to several flower sanctuaries to see so many plants. November Wayne raised his hoof up to ask a question. Why do you go to different sanctuaries instead of one? Because I want to study plants I haven't seen before. The more you find, the more plants you make. Then Smolder raised his hand. Is that why there's 15 choices we can do in our assignment? Yes, I want some volunteers to show what they got when it comes to taking care of plants. That way, not only with my daughter will be impressed, but also makes me proud to see that there's several ponies having some respect to planting flowers. The students can see what Fluttershy's mother's intentions mean. They can see her some kind of role model. Even she has the same issues her daughter has when it came to talking to others. With only 1 week, they would do their best to not only get the plants on time, but make them really beautiful. Anyway, I will help out anyone in this class when you get stuck on something. I've been doing this since my early years. After her first introduction, her students began the first step on their assignment. For the rest of the class, the students began the dirt in their pots while they picked their choice seeds in the dirt. Mrs. Shy poured water in all the pots, and as for the next step tomorrow, her teaching skills is just beginning. Field trip discussion and Star Tracker intervention. At the end of the first day, it seemed to work out for all the teachers except for Classy Crow, who is the only mother who left without any celebration. The rest stay for the next plans when it comes to tomorrow. The biggest topic they have on the mind is what kind of field trip they're going to. Twilight Velvet agreed there's going to be 2 field trips for this week only unless they get another chance to take over their daughter's teaching jobs. After Mrs. Shy's successful class was over, she takes Star Tracker to Stellar Flare's office, which is actually Starlight's room, as he's waiting on the bench. Today was a stressful and embarrassing time due to his new teachers exposing his moments with Twilight. Several students who aren't his friends made fun of him when they finally find out about his secret. He feels that it could happen when his new students made fun of him again for the rest of the week, but lucky for him, this invention shows the normal size of the substitutes. It was about 5 minutes until Windy Whistles came out of Stella's room. "Star Tracker," she said, which made Star Tracker jump out of the bench in frustration. "I'm not Twilight's cult friend," he started, which made Windy back up. Once Tracker opened his eyes and turned his attention to Windy, he sighed in shame, since Windy was the only teacher who didn't make fun of him. "You must have been embarrassed," she replied in her normal mood. "Yes," Tracker retorted quietly. "I'm sorry for lashing. My past is supposed to be compliments by now." He took a deep breath as he walks with Windy to Stella's office, but Windy stops him. "I'm just going to say this right now. Sunburst's mom is really sassy." This made Star Tracker roll his eyes. "What's your point?" "She does all of Sunburst's plans and goals, which is the same way she's doing right now." A silence began for 10 seconds until they know less about Stellar Flare than Twilight does. "Let's just go. You might understand once you talk to her." Windy opened the door and allowed Star in. Inside he saw Peanut Butter, her husband, Bright Mac, the principal, Twilight Velvet, and Stellar Flare, who's been talking to them. They all got their attention on Star Tracker once they heard the door being pushed open. "Oh, hey, Star Tracker," Twilight called. "Come here and take a seat." Star Tracker took a seat between Velvet and Peel while Bright Mac gives him a serious look, which made Tracker uncomfortable. "Can you tell me why he's staring at me like that?" he asked. "We'll talk about that later," Peel reminded. Windy Whistles left the office as Twilight's mom begins the intervention. "Star Tracker, I'm sorry for mostly embarrassing you earlier today. We were just messing with you, that's all." She placed her hoof on his shoulder. "The thing is, we thought it was adorable, but on the other hand, earlier was the first time Twilight told us that information about you," Peel added. Star Tracker processed the apologies he received from two ponies. Even though this is the first time he's meeting his teacher and Headmail's mothers, he knows how respectful they are. "Thanks for the apologies," but his ears perked down suddenly. "But on the other hand, do any of you know how to run your daughter's classes? Not that you're doing is wrong, it's just this week is going to be different when it comes to our next assignments." Just after he finished his opinion, Stellar Flare slammed her hoofs on her decks, which caused the three ponies on the couch jump while Bright Mac backed away until he bumped the wall that's behind him. "How dare you question our amateur teaching skills?" she retorted. "You have no idea how this opportunity is going to make us the best mothers ever. I made his plans right after I got the information from Starlight." Stella was about to continue her words until Velvet stops her. "Stella, you know we shouldn't be aggressive towards our students," she added with kindness in her words. Stella, with her sassy attitude, rolled her eyes as she makes a compliment. Said to the principal, who's really hyper happy in front of a few students. Velvet ignored her compliment as she gives back to the intervention. "Anyway, I'm letting you know that we're just helping so they can have their vacation. Like if you take a job, a substitute, and you don't have the same customs as your teachers." Then Peanut Butter grabbed Tracker's head, turning his face towards her with her eyes focusing on his. "You might fail and disappoint the whole family. Reputation is in our hooves," she shouted while also making fun of him. Bright Mac decides to chime in since he's on his wife's side when it comes to a week-only job. When Peel let go of Tracker, he faced with his nose pressing against Star's nose. And don't you ever tell my wife about her plans she has tomorrow. Can you tell me why you're so mad at me? Tracker asked. After Bite Mac took his step away from him, he explains his reasonings towards him. I'm not mad at all. It's about what you're getting yourself into. You might do so many changes if you want to ever stay with Princess Twilight in your future. Then a huge blush came to Star Tracker's face. We're not getting married! He shouted in frustration with both of his hooves face palming on his face. But it wasn't long until Peel pulled his hooves off of him nicely. Bite Mac, after being shocked from Tracker's outburst, decides to be more reasonable. Sorry, the idea of you getting kisses from a princess gives me flashbacks before me and Peel became wife and husband. This made Tracker's ears perked up. Did Peel give you kisses on the face? He gave him a serious look, which made Bite Mac blush. Yes. With an awkward silence in the headmail's room, except for both Stella and Twilight giggling while Peel blushed as well. Why are you even here? Before Bright could even answer Tracker's next question, Peel Butter decided to help him out despite the embarrassment. He's here because of me. Twilight and Stella made an assignment that tomorrow you and your students are going on a field trip, and Bite Mac also agrees to come with me. What place are we going to? Star asks until Peel takes a piece of paper of the location they're going tomorrow. Appaloosa! Both Peel and Bite shouted in happiness. We agreed we should do 2 field trips for this week, with a second one on Friday. We still need plans on that, Velvet explained. I have so much to show every pony about the life of ponyfolk in the town Bite Mac showed me after I was accepted in the Apple family, Peel Butter added. And I caught several ponies, mainly Applejack's relatives, that they're going to be guest speakers there. It's going to be a long day for most of us, but it will be the best field trip ever. Bite Mac hugging his wife. Happy enough to meet the students in his school. Giving them the experience he had with Granny Smith took him to Appaloosa when he was a filly. That sounds really fun. I've never been to Appaloosa before, Tracker smiled. Then believe me, tomorrow will be the day we'll show the great sides of our teachers, Twilight added. And let's not forget that Spike and Apple Bloom are coming with, because Spike is taking pictures while Apple Bloom, being my favorite daughter, to come along. Peel smirked with a lit expression from her face. You must have everything planned now, do you? Stella smirked as well. You bet. I'm always ahead of schedule, she smiled again. And you think you're the only pony in the school who can make a schedule ahead of time. Flair found Peel's small but sassy tone really impressive, and at the same time, loves that she's in the mood of going out tonight. Anyway, sorry this meeting was longer than I thought. We just wanted to make you feel alright for the field trip tomorrow, Twilight said as Star Tracker gets off the couch. I'm okay now. Besides, it's nice to meet your friends who's willing to help their daughters while they're on vacation, Tracker replied as he makes his way to the door. We'll promise we won't make fun of you tomorrow, Peel Butter smiled. Don't worry, Appaloosa isn't a place where our folks don't mess with any pony, Bite Mac giving Tracker the heads up. Thanks. See you tomorrow. Tracker leaves the headmail's room as he goes straight to Princess Twilight's castle. And as for Peel and the others, she takes out the list of activities they're going to do in Appaloosa, with a whole day of spending time in Appaloosa tomorrow. Peel Butter will be the best teacher in every pony's eyes in the School of Friendship.